Welcome to the Weekly Mag. Today we'll be having a chat with the international coach and former trainer of the Barça handball team, Xesco Espar. We'll be meeting and listening to the jazz artist Adrian Cunningham. And the actor Mariona Ribas will be having a go at Guess What? The craziest TV quiz around with Sergi Cervera. This and much more on the Weekly Mag, your TV show in English, hosted by Marcela Topor.
Hello and welcome to the Weekly Mag, the TV show where you can keep up your English and learn a few things too, some of which can be quite surprising. Well, like the words and facts brought by today's contributors, Mario Serra, Ana Priscila Magrinha and Hannah Becker. Hello all.
Hi. Hello. Hi there.
Welcome back. And Marius is going to take us through a few interesting English expressions. And of course, we can't do without the guess word, his weekly word puzzle. Marius?
Oh yeah, you'll have a new enigma, but first we have to solve the last week's.
Okay.
Let's remember the clue. Microorganisms. We used to talk. It was 5 letters, but don't say it now. I think it's quite easy. Even Ana Priscila, who always says she doesn't know the answer, but to keep things more interesting, she knows. But don't worry, because we have some more minutes to think about it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, don't say a word.
We won't.
In the meantime, we have some other interesting stuff, like the video from Hannah Becker, our New York reporter, or Nia, New York reporter, who is curious about all things Catalan. So what caught your attention this time, Hannah?
Yeah, well, it wasn't the Catalan people this time. It was their best friends, their pets, Catalan pets. Yeah, so I was there to investigate what kind of furry friends or not so furry friends the Catalans have. I have a sneak peek here.
Okay.
Like, have you ever seen someone like with a really weird pet?
The man walking with a mink here in his shoulder. And my neighbor has goes around with a parrot.
There was a guy who used to take his snake out for a walk.
Not a snake. Ah!
Don't do that to me, please.
Yeah. Too much fun.
Okay, so a parrot, a snake, even a mink.
Yeah.
Quite promising, I think.
How do you take a snake for a walk? Like,
Well,
with a
we'll
leash?
see it in the video, right, Hannah?
Yeah, we'll get more later.
Okay, anyway, let's kick off words and facts with the shocking facts that we don't know about the most ordinary things, such as, Ana Priscila.
Today, guys, I bring you 5 facts you didn't know about one of the most famous toys on the planet Earth, in this case.
Our planet. Okay,
Our planet. Is it the Rubik's Cube? Ta-tan! Is it an easy bake oven? Ta-tan! Is it the G.I. Joe? Ta-tan!
Satan?
No, none of those are. It's the
Oh, my
Barbie,
God.
my friends. And I have to thank Berta, who's Susanna's daughter. Susanna, you all know, is our beloved producer.
Oh,
and she
beloved
brought
Susanna.
me these 2 beautiful Barbie dolls. They are from Frozen, I'm guessing, yeah?
Yeah.
It's Elsa and Anna. Anna, Elsa, yeah? I'm getting this right?
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah?
No Ken.
No Ken, no Ken.
Ken.
We're gonna talk about Ken, but
Okay.
no Ken so far. It's a ladies'
We can't
party.
wait. We can't wait.
So today
Well
I
done,
bring
so-
you 5 facts about the Barbie doll. You might have heard that Barbie, the first adult-looking doll, was created by Ruth Handler, wife of a Mattel company co-founder.
Right.
But you might not know, my friends. Fact number 1.
Barbie, let's go party.
The doll is named after her daughter, Barbara. Apparently, Handler was inspired by watching her daughter Barbara playing with toys, but Barbara would give them adult roles. And she thought, all toys look like kids, babies. I'm gonna create a doll with an adult, well, a fake adult looking
Fake adult.
appearance. And Ken, you know Ken, is
Ken, of
Barbie's
course.
boyfriend or whatever. It's named after her son, Kenneth. So in theory, Barbie and Ken are siblings. So I don't know when you played with Barbies, what did you make them do? But apparently They are brother and sister.
I'm regretting a lot of what I used to do with my Barbie dolls now, knowing that.
I don't know if you all had Barbie dolls, and I don't know if you cut their hair or you just dismembered them. Marius didn't have a Barbie doll.
Not me. My sister had Nancy.
A Nancy,
not
another
Barbie,
one, okay.
But not me.
I've never been a huge fan of dolls.
Not even when you were a kid, Marcella.
Well, I don't know.
You would read
I
Tolstoy
must
when
have
you were
been
a
a
kid.
strange little girl, but not really. And you, Hannah?
Yeah, I was a tomboy when I was a kid, so I was also against anything girly, anything dolls. But my friends had them, and we would definitely do some weird stuff with those dolls.
I'm not gonna ask you what would you do with the Barbie dolls when you were a kid. Well, before I said, Handler apparently got inspired by watching her daughter playing, and this apparently is an important word in here, because he got inspired elsewhere as well. Maybe he got inspired by both these things, because the Barbie doll is inspired, or some other people would say copied, in the German doll built Lily, based on the comic strip character Lily, created by Reinhard Boitien for the German tabloid Bild. The character was very sexy and forthright, and the doll was sold to an adult public. You can see here that it resembles...
And blonde,
yes.
and blondie as well.
She resembles very much to the original Barbie. Yeah. What did Mattel do when they created the Barbie doll? They bought the rights of the Lily doll, they stopped its production, and problem solved. I don't know if you knew that, and could you ever imagine like a German sexy toy? It existed.
Yeah. I mean, if it were like Berlin Barbie with like leather straps and like, you know, some wits and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
It's time for fact number 3. Its design was created by an engineer who had worked for the Pentagon.
Really?
Talk about multitasking. Wow. The name of the engineer was Jack Ryan, and he used to design missiles for the Pentagon. I'm guessing he got tired of his job and he said, I'm tired of missiles in the Pentagon. I'm gonna do something completely different.
More exciting.
More exciting. He was hired to create the Barbie doll because he had a lot of experience with materials. I'm guessing all the materials. Yeah. I don't know if missiles are made out of plastic. Yeah. But we have to thank him that the Barbie doll had a waist that was twistable, and the click movement from her knee joints, it was also his creation.
Yeah, those classic missiles that are posable as well. I'm sure he worked on those.
It's classical.
Yeah. No. Isn't Jack Ryan like a famous spy?
Yeah, it's true, yeah.
So I wonder if you know, he was using the Barbies as some sort of like spy gadget, right?
I don't
like
know.
A Barbie that's a phone, a Barbie that's a gun.
With a bomb.
Yeah. Like a knife inside a Barbie. That could have been cool.
That would be cool, actually. I would buy one of them. No.
Well, actually, as a matter of fact, a while ago in our quiz, guess what? If you remember, we found out that there was a famous ornithologist called James Bond.
The author of James Bond got inspired on this ornithologist to give name to his, because he was looking for a boring name, a regular name, and he was
not
really
John Smith.
Yeah, and he created he chose this name James Bond because he thought it was boring enough for a character. Nowadays it has a lot of personality too. Yeah. Okay, guys, fact number 4, because I know you're thrilled. You want to know more things about the Barbie doll you never
as
had.
much as possible.
The Barbie doll. This is very important, guys. The Barbie doll didn't have a belly button until 2004.
No way. No way. I can't
Why would you like to know that? I don't know, but now you know, and you will be dreaming about this. Over the years, the doll has been heavily criticized, you all know that, for her impossible body type, not just the belly button. If a traditional Barbie was for real, she wouldn't be capable of walking, holding up her head, or having fully functioning internal organs. So she would be dead. But we're not gonna tell to kids that.
Don't tell them.
I'm not saying anything bad. you're okay.
You're beautiful
Luckily.
just the way you are.
Beauty's in the inside.
Of your non-working organs, yeah.
Luckily, in 2016, Mathilde introduced new body types, and now you can find Barbies in a petite body, curvy body, different eye colors, different skin tones, which is a nice thing to do. It took them quite a few years, but finally they got it.
Now we can all be Barbie girls together. Right?
Come on, yeah.
I'm a Barbie girl.
And what about Ken? What about Ken?
What about Ken? No, there's just one Ken.
No,
that's fine.
just one Ken. Okay.
No body diversity for Ken.
Yes, we can.
Okay, and after this meeting, I'll give you fact number 5.
And the last.
You wanted to finish, yeah, Marcella? You're not having fun with the Barbie doll facts.
I wonder what else. Is it possible that there is something else we don't know about the Barbie doll? I mean,
Every
come on.
time I ask this question.
Let's find out. Barbie's first career was, what would you say? You don't know, yeah? A teen fashion model.
what a
we
surprise.
could not know that.
No, of course not.
Very, very educational indeed. But with the passage of time, her career was focused on other areas. She has been a tennis pro, an executive, an astronaut, a surgeon, a zoologist, a reporter, a rock star, even a UNICEF ambassador. And nowadays, she's a really Renaissance woman because so far she has had more than 200 careers. So that's pretty impressive, guys.
That's the millennial
Good for
lifestyle
you.
right there.
Yeah,
Just
good for
jumping
you.
around careers.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Barbie now is a word in dictionaries, in English
Oh,
dictionaries.
yeah? Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
But it doesn't has all that meanings of engineering or astronaut because
Fact number 6, what does it mean?
Barbie means an intelligent.
Oh,
So
that.
there were
Barbie.
no way, don't hear that, and that was.
I think that's unfair. Barbie's had all these jobs. She's done a lot of different things. I mean,
She's not a bimbo.
No.
But Ken isn't even in the dictionary.
Yeah. Well, good.
know?
He doesn't need it.
Yeah,
he doesn't have careers.
Yeah. He's just a house husband. That's all you need.
that's it.
He's the husband of.
He's
you
the
know?
second
Exactly.
gentleman, right?
Yeah, the second gentleman. That's the idea.
That term is in the fashion at the moment.
Yeah.
It's very
Kamala
in.
Harris.
Yeah.
Okay. In any case, now that you've brought up the English language, Marius will have to leave Barbies for now. How sad.
Aw.
And focus on idioms, the origins of which Marius will disclose for us. And here are this week's choices.
I like idiom the good night Vienna because I can say it when I leave dramatically the site. So good night Vienna when I leave.
The walk of shame. I really like it because I think it's kind of funny. The idea of to have sex with some person in another place where it's not home after a crazy party night, and then to have to come back and you know that you have to go through that door with the same clothes that yesterday, and the people will know what is that about. Why are you like that, coming that hour with that clothes? What does it mean? I think it's really funny.
An idiom that I like is a bunch of fives, and I use it to punch the patriarchy.
That Barbie. That Barbie one.
Feminist Barbie over here.
Okay, nice ones.
Yeah, they're quite interesting. First one, this Good Night Vienna, meaning it's all over. But, well, I found that it was first in print as a radio operetta in the 30s, in 1932, and afterwards it was a film title as well. It was to the cinema, but the first time it was used metaphorically to say goodbye Vienna, it's all over.
Shakespeare.
No. In 1965, I think Shakespeare was dead.
Yeah,
at
by
that
then,
time.
I'm guessing, yeah.
No, it was on a headline on a newspaper in Coventry Standard, which is a British newspaper, because a gymnast called Maureen Wallace had to, it was famous at that time, she had to travel to Vienna to have a championship, but she just twisted her ankle just before and she couldn't So next day, commentary standard headline was, "It is good night Vienna for the dark-haired senior champion."
Oh.
So it's all over.
Okay.
It's goodbye. Next, 10 years after, John Lennon made a song for Ringo Starr called "Good Night Vienna" with this idea. So Ringo's album was called "Good Night Vienna."
Cool.
In Spanish, there's an equivalent.
Oh yeah?
Adiós Madrid. And it's Adiós Madrid, que te quedas sin gente. So goodbye Madrid, nobody will stay at Madrid. It's usual now we say Adiós Madrid, like something it's over, like it's good night Vienna, but it's supposed to be created by a peddler who didn't make his fortune at that city, so he went out of Madrid. Do you know any other idiom with a city, the name of a city involved?
Well, when it comes to Catalan, I don't think about a city, but for instance, we say, no, this is in La Quinta Forca, this is very far away, and maybe with a city, this Timbuktu, no? When you want to say that something is really far away.
That's it. I think there's a novel by Paul Auster even called Timbuktu, or in French, Tombouctou. I don't know if you say like very far away.
Yeah, you could use that. Yeah, it's like
with Rome.
With Rome.
When in Rome, do as the Romans do, but that's a saying, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Interesting. Okay,
Interesting history
let's talk about walks then.
Yeah, the walk of shame. The walk of shame. Well, in fact, it's a more general meaning.
Have you been in that situation? Have you been in that situation? Because
the walk of shame?
Yeah.
The morning after? Of course, I've been there. You have never been there? When you wake up in somebody else's place and you're like, what the hell did I do? I have to go home. Yeah, I've been there.
You're wearing
Not
your party
anymore
clothes.
now.
Yeah.
I'm a serious person
I have
now.
to drink less. Well, in fact, in a more general sense, this walk of shame is that in which a person must walk past strangers in an embarrassing reason for anyone. Could be that one or a non-sexual one, but could be of shame, right? But there are lots of, I could say, keep walking, which was a usual ad for Johnny Walker's whiskey. Keep walking. So I found lots of idioms involving the verb to walk. For instance, to walk Spanish. Do you know what?
To walk Spanish?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
I found to walk Spanish meaning to walk cautiously on your tiptoes. I don't
To
know
walk
why.
Spanish.
Not my experience with Spanish people, but all right.
Or you can walk on water.
Yeah.
To say you can do something which seems impossible.
Like
This is
Jesus.
like Jesus. Or walk on thin ice.
Okay, yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, maybe don't talk about her because she can be embarrassing for something.
Or walk on eggshells.
Yes,
Same
yeah,
meaning.
that's the same meaning, right? And even my favorite one is talk the talk, walk the walk, meaning that you have to put theory into practice, right? I love that because it reminds me when I was a child, these walkie-talkies, these strange devices that you walk. This is quite usual in America, is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you would maybe say to someone like, if you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk, right?
Right. So,
like, if you're going to say that you can do it, then do it, right? Don't just chatter about it.
Move your ass.
Just do it.
Yeah, it feels very businessy and like.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah,
it's a good one. What about a bunch of fives?
Yeah, well, with this one, let's talk the talk, but not walk the walk, because it was quite violent, right? Well, it's a slang term used for a fist, and it comes from boxing, of course.
Okay.
But I found that it's a very old terminology, because in England in the 1820s, where they were boxing with their fists with 5 fingers. So your bunch of 5, your 4 fingers and your thumb. Because in 1867 they came with boxing gloves. So they became mandatory, so there were no 5, but just 2, because you had to box with gloves.
And a bunch of 2s doesn't have the same ring to it.
Just 2s? Never. No. But boxing now is not popular, of course, but there are lots of idioms coming from the boxing terminology. For instance, to be on the ropes.
Oh, yeah.
And you are in trouble, right? Or to be saved by the bell.
Yeah.
The last minute.
This comes from boxing?
Yeah.
I thought it came from the TV series, the American one.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that comes from the boxing,
somewhere.
right?
Yeah, because they just ring the bell at the end of each part, so that if you are not in good condition, maybe the bell saves you.
And when you're in high school,
Yeah,
the
I thought
bell
it-
at the end of class
From a
sometimes
bunch of
feels like,
fives.
you
I
know.
thought it came from high school, yeah.
And what about throwing the towel? This is quite sexy. Throwing the towel.
Well,
but no,
Do you think
that-
it's sexy?
Well, you're getting out of the
that means
shower.
giving
I
up.
don't want anyone throwing in the towel in a sexy situation.
Well, if it throws,
He means
he
it
or she
literally.
gets naked.
Literally, sure, but
Yeah.
figuratively,
No,
no.
of
You got to
course.
finish what you start. You know?
Yeah. This means giving up,
Yeah.
but it comes from boxing. Because when the trainers, when their boxing men were in trouble, just threw the towel to the ring.
Yeah.
So that ended all. And the last one is KO, to be KO or knockout. Knockout,
Yeah.
which is being bad, or can be a very attractive person.
Oh, a
He's
knockout.
Yeah.
With boxing, in English, can it be a little bit like a bullfighting in Spanish? That we have a lot of idioms related to that?
Yeah, but with no blood.
Well, there's
Well,
sometimes
the bull's
blood.
blood.
Yeah,
Poor
with
guy.
animals. I don't know, but yeah, bullfighting now it's not popular. Even we don't use that, but there are lots of idioms because language has memory and it takes.
Okay, let's move on and talk about the relationship between people and animals. So it's time to watch Hannah's report about pets.
Not
So where did you
bulls,
go?
not bulls.
Where did you go, Hannah, to find out all about it?
Yeah, I went to Granollers, the capital of the Vallès Oriental.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a really beautiful city.
You liked it?
Yeah, it was nice. They have a nice church, which I mean, you could say about pretty much anywhere in Europe. But you know, they had a beautiful thing with columns. What do you call it?
La porchada.
La porchada.
porch.
It was very beautiful, and everyone was super nice there. Yeah.
So do they have a lot of pets, the people in Granollers?
Yeah. There were a lot of opinions about animals, a lot of interesting responses, and yeah, I think we should check out the report.
Yeah.
Picture this. You wake up, someone feeds you, then you sleep all day, then you get fed more. No, I'm not describing my fantasy life, although it is. I'm describing the life of a house pet. So I'm here in Granollers to talk to people about their furry friends and their not so furry friends.
I'm always happy with you.
Do you have any pets?
I have a cat.
Do you think that your cat likes you?
Yeah, she's so horny with me.
Horny?
Yeah, you know, a little bit of love.
We have a dog. I learned that I don't want to have a dog anymore.
Okay, little buddy, go fetch. Come on, go get it.
I wish I had a rabbit.
You're a good dog. So cute. Have you seen that video where it's like a dog, it's like dreaming? What's like the funniest thing that you've ever seen an animal do online?
A cat getting scared.
It'd be so nice to cuddle with a little cat right now. If only I had a cat here to cuddle with. Don't go away. But I want you to love me. Why are cats so mean? Come back to me.
I'm a real dog lover. I even have a friend who has a dog, and I hang out with my friend so I can be with the dog.
Do you think you would get a dog that looks like you?
I don't know what kind of dog would look like me. I would get a a dog that was just cute, adorable. Well, yes, or like me. Yeah.
So exactly like you. Like, have you ever seen someone like with a really weird pet?
I have seen a man walking with a mink here in his shoulder.
Okay.
Yeah. I live in Switzerland.
Okay.
And my neighbor has goes around with a parrot.
Ooh.
Yeah. The old tenant had like all the basement full of snakes. He had about like 25 snakes. I don't know.
Run a snake. Ah!
Back home in the UK, there was a guy who used to take his snake out for a walk, but he would actually be carrying the snake with him. He didn't have the snake on a lead.
Okay, guys, I'm so excited. I just got this great toy for my cat, and I think she's gonna love it. I'm so excited. Don't you want to attack it? Come on. I spent so much money on this cat toy, and she doesn't even like it. So what's your dog's name again?
Carmen. She's like a circus dog.
Boom. Boom. How's her English?
I think that she still has to improve a bit, because where we live, he talks in French. So French, Catalan, and Spanish, it's already a lot.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh. Bang! No. No, you can do it to me. You gotta bang me. Having a pet can be both challenging and rewarding. And since I've gotten these little guys in my life, I've been both challenged by their lack of affection towards me, but rewarded by the fact that I don't have to pay for their food. Plus, they come with their own little clothes. Isn't that so cute? Good dog.
Hannah, I don't know if you should take care of pets.
Yeah.
A dog called Carmen. That's unusual.
Yeah, I love when people give their dogs human names. Like, I think that says so much about the owners. Right?
Yeah, but Carmen was a very good kisser.
Yeah.
She was kissing all the time.
Yeah, she could do a lot of tricks. She didn't want to do them for me, but she...
And the horny cat?
Yeah, I don't really know what was going on there. I was very surprised when that word came out of his mouth. I think this guy learned English in some strange ways.
Okay, so we've seen you have a cat and a dog, very nice ones, by the way. But do you have any actual pets, like real ones?
Yeah, no, unfortunately, I don't. I live in an apartment with a lot of roommates, so it's not really realistic. But I grew up with dogs, so yeah. Do you guys have any pets?
Not now, not by now, but I used to have, I'm not very original. I had some parrots and a rabbit.
Oh.
A big white Australian rabbit with red eyes.
Wow.
And we called it Rabbit in English. we talk in Catalan to it, but we call him, not him, but it Rabbit.
Oh.
Yeah, that's it.
Seems scary with a white rabbit with red eyes.
Well,
like Banicula.
It lived 10 years with us.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Or 9, I don't know. Yeah, quite long.
I do have a dog. It's a rescue dog.
Aww.
And I did the most beautiful thing, I rescued a dog. I feel really good. And after a year, my parents took care of it, and now he lives with my parents.
Well done,
Because
Ana Priscila.
they live in a house, in a bigger place. I do live in Barcelona.
You did it for them, right?
I actually did it for them. And the problem with my dog is that when I went to get him, they told me its name is Kalenji.
Kalenji?
Kalenji, like the Decathlon brand.
Oh, yeah.
And I couldn't remember the name at all. So I wrote it down in my hand, like Kalenji. And then I washed my hands and it ran off, and I was like, what the hell? I don't remember its name. And then I had to call a friend, and he's like, Kalenji. And now he's Cal, like
Cal, that's
like
quite
Karl
better.
Marx or something like that. But, but for real, it's Kalenji. And people ask me, why didn't you change his name? And it's like, he already probably changed names twice. I don't want to get him like a more...
Identity crisis.
Yeah.
For dogs.
Dog's been through enough, right?
I'm sure he has.
Yeah.
But now he's very happy with my parents.
A dog's life.
A dog's life. Thank you, Papa and Mama, for taking care of Kalenji.
Do you know anybody with real weird pets, apart from snakes?
One of my really good friends' little brothers had a snake growing up. So that's kind of,
What's the point on that? Serious? I mean, like...
To scare people. So the best story about the snake was one time we had a party at this friend's house in the summer, and it was really hot. And like after, like in the morning, after we all stayed over there in the
The
morning.
walk of shame.
Yeah.
The walk of shame.
But maybe the snake was doing it. But in the morning, my friend was like, "By the way, have you seen the snake at all? Like, I haven't seen the snake since yesterday." And I was like, "You just had a snake loose in the house during this party?" So I was just imagining, we're all like partying around, and if a snake just jumped out.
Where was the snake?
No idea.
Oh,
I don't know.
you didn't know.
I'm sure they found it. They must have found it.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
was
it was
it a
very-
big one or a small?
Yeah, it was like a python, I think.
Python.
Yeah, I mean one that is safe for having as a pet, but they're very creepy. I don't know.
Yeah, I hate snakes.
I can understand that, but some people have, for instance, spiders, tarantulas. I mean, big spiders.
Yeah.
I find having birds weird. I don't trust
Or
birds.
even pigs.
so-
What about pigs?
Ooh, yeah.
Like in Porca Miseria.
Yeah,
right?
but
That TV
How
series.
do they call black pigs or no? There's Indian pig. No,
I don't know,
It's a sort
I
of
have no
special.
idea.
I know it was trendy for a while to have those
Smaller.
little tiny pigs,
Yeah.
the teacup pigs. And then people were getting tricked into getting them, and then they would turn into just big, like normal pigs.
But they say that pigs are really intelligent.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I used to have a bird, and his name was Donatello.
Donatello.
Because
like a pizza.
he was my favorite Ninja Turtle, not because of the artist, but the Ninja Turtle.
What about turtles? A lot of people have turtles as pets.
Yeah.
I have a friend, she had a turtle, and the turtle got lost. She found her after a year, and
It was bigger.
she wasn't alive. Under a table or something, under a sofa.
That's really sad. Okay,
Sorry.
anyway, let's conclude these words and facts with our guess word, the weekly word puzzle by Marius Serra.
Yeah.
So, Marius?
Let's remind our viewers the last one, the clue. It was microorganisms we all used to talk. It was a 5-letter word, and can you see it?
Gotta think
is the
American.
answer.
You gotta think American English.
Think in American English, this is the answer.
A phone?
Yeah.
Cell.
Cells, that's it.
Of course, yeah.
That's
Don't you do that to me. I already look pretty stupid all the time.
No, because you make to make
Buena
your
Priscilla.
interesting.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's
well,
call it that.
A cell is a microorganism, but it's also how do you call mobile phones, or but in America it's all cells.
Yeah, we say cell phone.
Cell.
We don't say mobile phone.
Never
That's very
mobile.
British.
That's British.
Yeah, mobile phone.
Because I have a
Cell phone.
British English, I didn't get it. See,
That's it.
people.
That's
it.
the
Definitely the
explanation.
reason.
Okay, that
Okay.
explains it. And now for the next guess word.
Yeah, pay attention to
Okay.
this clue. Waiters love these parts of your fingers. It's a 4 letters. Waiters love these parts of your fingers. 4 letters. Don't tell.
Okay, okay.
So we've got another guess word which we published today on our social media. There you can post the answer, that is, if you have cracked the enigma. The solution next week. Well, Marius, Hannah, Ana Priscilla, thank you so much for your words and facts, and see you soon.
Okay.
And our show continues with interviews, reports, tips, music, games. But before all that, a book and a film to keep up your English. Because Salva López from the Xarxa de Bibliotecas Municipals de Diputació de Barcelona recommends a Pulitzer Award-winning novel. And Miquel López from Televisió de Badalona has come up with a classic horror film. So which one are you going to choose?
The Age of Innocence is a story written by Edith Wharton, and it's a book about an America that is not going to come back. So the book was published during the Roaring Twenties, more or less, and it speaks about an America of people who worry about scandal, female independence or divorce, and about what people may or may not say about me or my family. I would compare the book to The Great Gatsby, and I would read it again for its customized descriptions, which are really wonderful.
Young fans of the series The Walking Dead probably don't know that there is a grandfather of zombie movies. It was released in 1968, the brainchild of a man called George A. Romero. The title, Night of the Living Dead. Romero, who was the writer, director, photographer and editor of this movie, laid the groundwork for dozens of films to come which feature zombies, including, for example, World War Z with Brad Pitt. Still now, over 50 years later, audiences scream when in sinister black and white, dead people without eyes or nose or cheekbones raise their bloody hands to seize an innocent girl who yells for help. Will she be the next to join The Walking Dead?
What do you really need in order to achieve your goals? Today we have an answer to that, or rather our guest does, the coach and writer Xesco Espar.
Welcome back. Calligraphy is an old art with thousands of years of history, and one of its main proponents in our country is the British artist Keith Adams, a passionate teacher who's lived in Catalonia for 40 years. So we visited him in the tiny village of Cabanabona in La Noguera to make this portrait.
My name is Keith, my surname is Adams, and my profession is calligrapher. We have a 17th century house and a relatively quiet place to live, and there's a lot of history all around us. It's nice to walk the dog and in this time of COVID walk for hours and not see anybody at all. It's a privilege. I was born in southwest England. I studied Chinese at Oxford. Western calligraphy is not so well known as Oriental calligraphy. It's just necessary not to lose our own heritage. And then there's the creative part as well, trying to make new things, which is not so easy, but I think the two must be balanced. So maybe it's like an addiction more than anything else. I have to use my hands to make letters, and it's the one thing that makes sense to me. So I think that's a vocation. When you write letters, they're living. When you print letters, well, they have a history and they're sort of living. It's just loving the materials and the instruments and trying to perfect the forms, but in a human way, not in a mechanical way. An illustrious Catalan, Carmen Balcells. She was a literary agent representing famous authors, so when Mario Vargas Llosa won the Nobel Prize, she commissioned me to do a book of his speech in Stockholm. So I got this job. This is a facsimile. I mean, obviously Vargas Llosa has the original. I've done a lot of work on Salvador Espriu. I don't know how many book covers I've done, but there's a series of the Spanish Royal Academy editions of the classics. Calligraphy become fashionable. Graphic design students are bored with the computer. They're bored with looking at a screen, working at a screen. And so, I mean, some of them told me in Aina that they thought I was like an alchemist. I just had all these materials and I made smells with different materials and I had different papers and they Some of them, not everybody of course, but some of them just were happy to do something with their hands again and interact with surfaces. Some kids said, when I'm doing the homework, I just feel so peaceful and it's really good. Yeah, that's why I do it as well. It just feels good.
An expert at coaching in teamwork, motivation and leadership, our next guest uses his communication skills as a tool to teach self-improvement and self-exigence. No doubt his experience as a prominent player and the coach of the Barça handball team has helped. We are talking, of course, about Xesco Espar. Welcome, Xesco. It's
Hello.
a great pleasure.
It's the same for me. Thank you for inviting.
Yeah. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, busy?
I'm happy. I'm always happy.
Well, that's good. How do you manage to be always happy?
Because, you know, I'm an expert on emotional control, so it's not hard for me. I know how to take the emotion and change the emotion. You just have to change your body, your position. Maybe you just have to move. Motion and emotion is almost the same word. And then if you learn to refocus your mind and focus on the good things that every day are happening to you, you can change your mind easily.
Mm-hmm. Easily? Yeah. Is it easy for you, but maybe not for everybody to be
right?
To learn to be happy all the time.
When you have the habit, that's the power of habit. Habit makes everything easier. It's hard at the beginning. It's confusing in the middle because the old habit works, the new habit works, but then it's great in the end. This is the process to acquire a new habit.
Wow, I think it's great to be happy all the time. I need to learn that as well.
I think that's a decision, because people too much, in one part is a decision, on the other part I think society tends to focus our attention and our mindset. The society tends to focus on the bad things. It's like they are trying to threaten us. But I think we must reclaim our power. We have the power of controlling our focus, and then that changes everything.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's good to know, actually. That's why you are here today to talk to us about your book, your latest book. But before that, I would like to ask you, how would you define yourself? As a consultant, a coach, or an assistant?
I used to be a coach, and that was easy for my mom to explain it.
Okay.
So after that, once I stopped being a coach, I do so many things that when she saw me writing, she said, okay, I can tell you're a writer, because that's the easier thing. But lately I've been working on my own definition, because I think it's very important to have to know yourself. I think I'm a high performance broker at that moment. I mean, I think I understand how high performance work, and I have decoded the code, and that's what I teach, learn, train people on that high performance.
Tell us, you used to be a professional player at the beginning, right?
To be true, it's a long story, but it's a fun story, because I was a professional player, but I was an average professional player. Okay. I was not top professional player. So when I understood that I could not win the European Championship as a player, because there were not so good teams for me, I decided to become a coach so I could win the European Championship. That was like my best goal at that moment. So changing from playing to coaching was not too hard, because I loved coaching also. As I was trying to learn to be a coach, I was coaching for 12 years young players. But if you want to win the European Championship, you have to coach professional players. It's a different thing. I was the assistant coach for the Barça handball team for 7 years. Mm-hmm. And they were amazing years. We won 3 times the European Championship. So that was great. But then I learned something critical that changed everything. Coaches, we are not judged for what we know. Not even if we are good coaches, but if the players win or lose on Sunday.
Okay.
That's That's the thing.
It's the result that counts.
Yes. So it doesn't matter how much handball I can learn. If I don't get those guys to work at their best on Sunday, it's over. So I had to learn how to manage people. That was the point.
Okay.
And once I learned that, and once I finished coaching, I thought, I have learned too many things about emotional state, teamwork, leadership, just to have for my own. So I decided to spread my word in books,
Okay.
speeches, and everything.
So in your latest book, are we going to learn about all these amazing facts that will help us to achieve success or to be on top and stay on top, which is also
Right.
very difficult.
Yeah, this is something I learned coaching players. And you have two main sources of fuel in our life. We have our focus, our concentration, our motivation. That helps us to get to our best performance. But if you want to maintain your best performance, you can't stand always on willpower, because it's not easy. It's not easy. You have to create a new habit. You have to upgrade your old habit to the new level.
Is this what you are telling us in La Libreta, the 10 habits that build extraordinary people?
Yes.
What are the 10 habits?
It's not in order of importance, but they are 10. Ambition, but ambition not to have more, but to become more. That's an habit for extraordinary people. Ambition, looking for excellence, which means once you have to do it well on the first try. Do your best on the first try. That's excellence. Self-motivation. Don't wait for anyone to come motivate you. You have to create your own resources. How to overcome failure. That's very important, because people think that success and failure are the opposite, and that's not right.
No?
No. Failure is in your way to success. So the opposite of success, is not trying. If you don't try, you don't move. But if you try, you learn. And when you learn, you are closer to success. So overcoming failure is absolutely critical to stand up.
And learning from your mistakes, right?
Right.
Okay,
then
makes sense.
we have the action. I mean, more action and less talking. Action is another habit.
Okay.
Being a good person. This is very important, because there are several ways to be a good person. One of them is just being lazy and let people take advantage of you. That's not being a good person. I mean, being a good person is you have to defend your truth.
Okay.
You have to speak your truth. Then teamwork, leadership, courage. Courage is very important, because if you don't have courage, you never grow. In order to grow, you have to go outside your comfort zone. But if you don't have courage to go outside, you will never grow.
And respect? Respect also?
Respect,
right?
Sure. And living on the present. Because too many people trying to go forward looks back, and you can't go. You must live the present. Is the only way to change the future. This should be the 10 habits.
Well, you tell us all about these amazing stories in chapters, and the main character is Paul. Paul is a footballer who finds himself in a difficult moment in his life. How much of this book is autobiographical, Xesco?
Maybe 80% is autobiographical, but not on Paul's view, but on Johan's view. I mean, most of
Johan is his mentor.
Yes, his mentor.
Exactly.
So most of the dialogues are real that I had with professional players, professional people, other coaches. So the story is something making up, but the dialogues are real.
It's not so much a book to read as enjoyment or leisure, but it is a book that you need to read little by little, like an active reading, because it's a book that teaches you so many important things. So you need to take it to take it one step at a time, right?
Yeah, there are two books inside the book. There's the story. I shouldn't say it's a novel. I mean, it's just a story. And then there's something that Paul has to do because he's studying English, and he must write a assignment for this English class, and he has to reflect on the things that are happening to him every day. So you can find two different books. The book that's Paul's notebook and the rest of the book.
You said English. What about your English? Because your English is very good, and I know it's been really important in your career.
No doubt. There was a moment in my life I had to start learning how to manage people. That was around 1990, 1995.
Okay.
And there were no books about sport leadership or team sport creation. And I had to go to management books or go to United States to study sports psychology and mentality and emotional stories and creation emotions. And because I could speak English, I could learn that. And
it's good.
One of the reasons the character has to work in English is because I want to motivate all the young players and all the young people that read that English is so important in their life.
You have two daughters who are also professional athletes. Was English also important for them to achieve success?
Absolutely. In our family, English is a must. Absolutely. They had full scholarship for two great universities in the United States, so they could study in the United States because they had the scholarship to play water polo. They are professional water polo players, Olympic players, world champion players, and they were recruited for two different universities, the USC, University of Southern California, and San Jose State University. And because they could speak English, they could have the scholarship. Because you can't go there to study English.
Exactly.
You must
have a good English, before that. Okay. And we'll continue our chat about careers with Xesco Espar in a moment, but we are sticking to sports. Last week, Mark Broderick introduced us to some football vocabulary, and now it's time for a few more words on that subject.
Hey, so last week I gave you some vocabulary to do with football, and if you haven't seen it, check it out. Now I'm going to give you some more vocabulary, but more specifically to do with defending, okay? To stop people scoring a goal, which of course is the objective in a game of football. And the first thing you'll need to know is how to tackle, okay? To tackle is to try and take the ball off another player. Of course, don't tackle too hard or you might hurt them or commit a foul, which of course is the next word. To commit a foul is to do something illegal. You might kick somebody by accident on the shin or make a tackle that hurts them. This is committing a foul. Now, of course, there's somebody on the pitch that if you commit a foul, the referee might caution you, and a caution can come in two forms. It can come in a yellow card or a red card. Of course, if you get two yellows, automatically turns into a red. And now, finally, in order to score a goal, yes, you'll need to pass the goalkeeper. Now, if the goalkeeper is any good, he's going to save the ball like this, okay? He's going to stop the ball with his hands. Now, if, of course, it's Messi or Ronaldo that's shooting, that goalkeeper is going to need a lot of luck.
He's from Sydney, he moved to New York, and his next stop was Catalonia. Stay for a chat with and listen to the music of the jazzman Adrian Cunningham.
Welcome back. We are chatting with the Xesco Espar, coach and an expert on high performance. And now let's introduce our contributor Adina Rose Levin in our conversation and talk about sports people and their careers after they stop competing. Adina, great to see you again. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. How are you guys?
Great also. Well, after all this inspirational talk with Xesco, I feel very motivated for great things today.
Totally inspired for excellence. So I think it's safe to say that when most athletes retire from playing professionally, people expect them to go into some other part of the sports industry, right? Flip to any TV channel and you might see a former athlete with a mic in their hand, like the Catalan tennis player Alex Corretja,
exactly,
who's now a commentator on Spanish national TV, or in the States there's Mary Carrillo on NBC. The list goes on. You also see a lot of retired sports stars going into coaching, like you, Xesco, initially, becoming instructors for talented young people and even the best teams in the world, like the Valls-born Andrea Fuentes, who is a mega Olympian and a world champion in synchronized swimming, and now she is the USA national team senior coach.
Xesco, now you say that you are a high performance broker. This is how you like to call what you're doing at the moment. Tell us, how important is to have something, to do something else apart from the sport that you're playing?
Yes.
Because when it ends, right, many athletes find themselves with they don't know what to do, right? And that's I guess that's a hard moment for them.
Especially for great athletes that have a lot of success. They attach too much their personality to their role. So when the role is over, their personality falls down. So it's very important they have something they like to do or to create or just to study. So when they finish, they can attach their great personality, because don't forget they are great athletes, but they are great athletes because of what they are. That's what they have to learn. So they can apply what they are to any other job, any other activity, hobby, anything.
Right, and that's actually why I'm here today, is to talk about more of the out-of-the-box, unexpected paths that some athletes have taken after they've retired from competing.
Yeah, for example?
So one example that really stands out, well, the first one I came across was Christine Lagarde, who is the president of the European Central Bank. Quite a job. Well, she was quite an athlete in her day when she was a teenager. Can you guess what sport?
No idea.
It's synchronized swimming, just like Andrea Fuentes.
Excellent.
As a teenager, she was on France's national team for synchronized swimming. And then she went on to study in both France and the United States, international and social labor law. And then, before transitioning into France's trade ministry, as well as the International Monetary Fund and eventually the European Central Bank. So what kinds of skills do you think transfer from sports into fields like international labor and social law and finance?
Well, I'm not an expert at all on law and finances, but I know what as an elite sport woman in that case can be. So she's really used to apply her talent to situations, even when it's hard, because you just can be a top elite if you know how to act when it's hard. And then, second thing important for top elite sport players is they can anticipate situations. They look for clues that no one else are seeing. So both things, I think they are very important for anything, any job you can.
And discipline also, I guess, it's very important.
So I just talk about talent, then we can talk about the emotional part, because, you know, personal performance depends on two factors: your talent and your emotion. We all have talent, but the amount of talent that we give to the day is up to our emotional state. We are on top emotional state, we give everything. We are shrinked or small, we don't give almost anything. So the emotional state is very important.
I feel that.
We have more examples?
Yeah, other athletes go into entrepreneurship and business, investing in companies or even developing products. One that comes to mind is the George Foreman Grill. George Foreman. Well, before the grill, he was grilling people in the boxing ring as a heavyweight champion, a two-time Olympian gold medalist. And speaking of things that are smoking hot, I feel compelled to mention David Beckham.
Wow, that's a good example.
Yeah, well, in addition to having a brilliant career on the field, he's also a fashion icon and developed a perfume line, in addition to his likeness being featured in all sorts of video games, and of course he has some notable philanthropic work as well. Are there any athletes that are doing products or companies or philanthropic work that you're particularly a fan of?
I think Pau and Marc Gasol, they have a foundation and they're trying to help young players and young people.
That's right.
And someone, I don't know, Lance Armstrong, for instance, I don't want to talk about his private life, but he really did a great job on cancer, and he helped a lot to people. And lately I think Juan Carlos Unzué, he was a goalkeeper in FC Barcelona. He's now suffering a tremendous disease, and he created a foundation. I don't remember the name of the disease, but he created. I think people who has been successful and enough in life, most of them learn to be grateful enough to give back to society, and they try to create foundations and some way to give back what they got from society.
Xesco, how important is psychology in your job now, and also when you were a player?
Every time, I mean, psychology is one of the, I think, dimensions that we have. We have our physical part, we have our mental part, and our emotional part, even our spiritual part. So psychology is very important in sport. Sports psychology is important. Who plays the role, I think, normally is the coach, who must study. And the same thing for managers. A manager in any industry, he must understand psychology so he can help their co-workers easily.
Agree?
Totally.
We have more examples, Adina?
Yes, and then shifting to arts and music, some athletes go into that, like the Danish soccer star Daniel Akker. Let's see if I hope I pronounced that right. I asked the Danish friend, who's a very talented tattoo artist, in addition to being covered himself in lots of tattoos. Or there's also the another soccer player, Jose Manuel Pinto from Spain, who became a successful, I see your face lighting up.
Yeah, right.
He's a hip-hop composer and producer, and he's worked with Latin Sony Music, Cirque du Soleil. He's even composed music for Hollywood, so really cool. Are there any, what about you? Like, writing is obviously an art, but are there any other sorts of arts or music or artists or musicians that particularly inspire you?
Any live art is something that can inspire me. Live music, I don't know, a Bruce Springsteen concert, for instance. I love Bruce Springsteen, but any art like painting or anything is inspiring me, because that reminds me we all have talent, and when we put our talent for the rest of the society, that's when you do a good job. So they inspire me to do the same with my talent.
Wow, that's excellent. Well, now we are reaching the end of the interview, and that means it's time for our question chain, which is a surprise question for Xesco from our last guest, in this case the director of the Institut Ramon Llull, Yolanda Bataller. Let's have a look.
Hi, my name is Yolanda Bataller. I'm a writer, a publisher, the director of Institut Ramon Llull since 2018. And my question to you is, what would you tell to someone in the world about Catalan culture, 3 things to make them fall in love with our culture, our literature, and our language? Thank you.
Wow, that's a great question.
Indeed.
We are an open country because we are in a place in Europe that's always been some place that many cultures have been teaching us and we have been learning. So we are an open country. We are international. We are international because many of the Catalan artists have been having success around the world. I must say 3 things. That's not easy. Okay. So the last thing, we have architects. You can just travel Barcelona or go and you can see all the architecture. We have music, excellent music. We have great writers. If you love culture, you can find any kind of culture, you can find some Catalan artists that you can love.
And before we go, Xesco, I'd like to ask you if you're working on another project at the moment. Are you preparing another book or just something completely different?
To tell you the truth, between Play From Your Heart and La Libreta in the notebook, there's 10 years difference. So, because I wanted to write something real, something mine, so there is no new book at this moment. But there's the English version of everything. So our main project for this year for my company is to create the content in English so we can spread the word with a lot more people and we can share everything we know with a lot more people. Going into English is the next challenge.
Well, and coming to the weekly mag to say that, I think it's great news and it's perfect. For us, it's great news to be able to share your work in English.
Yeah, that's why I'm so grateful, because you have allowed the opportunity to show our work and what we're doing. So I think that can be a nice start for that.
Well, Xesco, thank you so much. Thank you for coming today to inspire us. Thank you for the tips in your book, which are a great use for everybody, I think. And good luck with everything.
Thank you. Good luck with your program.
And thank you, Adina. Until next time.
Thank you.
Well, our next guest takes us into the world of classic jazz. He's from Sydney, Australia, and moved to New York, but he's been recently traveling back and forth to Catalonia. He plays the saxophone, the clarinet and the flute, and he's also a vocalist. He's released the album The Lockdown Blues with his band, Professor Cunningham and his old school. Well, we're talking to Adrian Cunningham.
Hello.
Welcome and thank you so much for coming.
It's my pleasure.
Well, tell us about this great album. It leaves us no doubt about when it was recorded.
Very true, yes. Well, the band on this recording has been spending the last few years touring the world, playing festivals and concerts. And when the lockdown happened in New York, an important note is that two of the members of this band are from Catalonia.
Okay.
Danny, our trombone player, Danny Alonso from Girona, and Martí, our drummer, he's from Barcelona. So the band has very much Catalan roots. And when everything closed down, we had no work, all of our festivals and tours got cancelled, so we thought, what are we going to do? And I had the idea of using technology to bring us all together, so we all recorded it in our bedrooms and living rooms, with or without clothes, who knows. And I put it all together with the computer, and we had a great recording engineer, and the album turned out really well.
Well, congratulations. This looks really good, that's for sure. Tell us about the name, Professor Cunningham and his old school.
That's a good question. Well, because, as you mentioned, I do play various styles of jazz. I do love classic jazz, and I wanted a band that represented older music. So I thought old music, old school. In English, you know, we talk about something being old school, being old-fashioned in a cool way. So I thought old school, then I thought school, teacher, professor. Because in New Orleans, there's a big tradition of artists taking names like Dr. John. Professor Longhair's a very famous New Orleans artist. So I thought, okay, school, Professor Cunningham and his old school.
Nice name. Anyway, I see that you brought us today your clarinet and your flute. Thank you for that. And I will ask you if it is possible for you to show us the difference of styles or rhythms between modern jazz and classic jazz, because you are a specialist in classic jazz. You like jazz so much. So could you do that for us?
Of course, I'd love to.
Yeah?
This is my baby. This is my clarinet.
Okay.
So classic jazz, traditional jazz coming from New Orleans had a very specific flavour. It was very expressive and it really it expressed a lot of emotion without needing a lot of technical facility. You don't have to play really fast with New Orleans. It's all about the sound and the richness of the sound. Sidney Bechet is a master of early jazz, and he's a big idol for me for classic jazz. So I'm going to play a little bit of a Sidney Bechet style tune. This is a song by George Gershwin called Summertime, very famous song, and I'd like it to be summer right now. But here we go, here's a little bit of Summertime, like an old school New Orleans. It's a little bit of classic
really good.
jazz. Thank you very much. And then as jazz progressed, as the music developed, more and more musicians started to play. It evolved to become a little bit more sophisticated. Musicians got more technical on the instruments, and bebop came along. So yeah, so I'll play a little more of a modern song. This is called Donna Lee. This is by Charlie Parker, a master of modern bebop. That was a little fast for me, but that's a little bebop for you, a little bit of Donna Lee by
Sounds
Charlie
great.
Parker. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that. I wanted to ask you about your relationship with really famous jazz players such as Wynton Marsalis or Jonathan Batiste.
Sure.
You've been a sideman for some of them. So,
yes.
Can you tell us what have you learned from them, and what has this brought you as a musician?
Well, I think being in New York and getting exposed to musicians of that caliber is a real, it's a really important part of my development. Jazz is such a tradition to be passed down from musician to musician. So having the opportunity to play with such great players is something that you can't teach, you know, to pick up those sort of skills. And playing with Wynton Marsalis was amazing. He is a musician, a trumpet player of the highest quality, and the focus and the grace with which he plays music is something that's really extraordinary. I don't think I've experienced something quite like that. Jonathan Batiste is an amazing artist. He's a real free spirit. I've done a handful of gigs with him, with his band, and he is just a musician that you don't know. Anything could happen on stage because he's one of those creative artists that just let things happen. He loves things being spontaneous. So they're both quite different musicians from my experience playing with them, but they're both amazing musicians.
Mm-hmm. What about Catalan musicians you've worked with, and how is it that you came to Catalonia in the first place?
Well, as I mentioned before, my band has done a lot of touring throughout the world, and we've spent a lot of time in Spain. We've just seemed to have a good following here, and we've spent a lot of time in Barcelona the last 4 or 5 years. And I've always loved it. We really all love Spain. And as I said, our drummer and trombone player, they're both from here. So we have a connection here.
Mm-hmm. With Catalonia?
Catalonia.
With Barcelona?
Catalonia, yeah. Catalonia, mainly Barcelona. That was the first city that I was introduced to. So it's a beautiful place. And then I met a lovely girl here. Her name is Julia, and she was a swing dancer, a full-time swing dancer. Wow. As you probably know, the swing dancing scene in Barcelona is extraordinary. It's huge. Yes. Not right now with everything, being shut down. But so we had a connection through music, and I've always loved being here.
Sounds good. What do you think about streaming? I know that last year, because of the whole pandemic situation, you participated in quite a few streaming performances as well as some festivals. So do you think that streaming concerts and festivals will become popular, or do you consider it a feasible option, a good option for the future?
I think that's a complicated question. I think there's a lot of aspects to that. It's a necessity right now because we have no other option. Personally, for me, I feel jazz is a real life, in the room thing. Jazz is not something that that really communicates well to thousands of people in a stadium. Jazz is something that's in a bar, in a, you know,
more intimate.
Intimate, yes. To having that real connection, to be able to see the faces of your audience when you play. To me, that's such an important part of the music that I don't think it can be replaced. I think probably with technology, there will be an aspect of streaming that will always be a part of it now. But to me, that real life connection is what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's hope that we can go back to live concerts soon.
Yes.
And what are you going to play for us today?
I'm going to play a song by the great Duke Ellington, actually composed by Juan Tirzol, his trombone player. And I'm going to do a song on the solo flute, unaccompanied, and I'm going to kind of recreate being in the desert with the desert winds. And this is a song called Caravan.
Okay, so we listen to Caravan with Adrian Cunningham. Thank you so much for coming to the Weekly Mag and telling us all about your music.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's nearly time to play, so stay for our quiz with Sergi Cervera and today's guest, the actress Mariona Ribas.
We are back and on the home straight of the show, or in other words, it's time to play under the direction of our quizmaster Sergi Cervera.
Hello and welcome to Guess What? The quiz with silly questions for intelligent contestants, something which is demonstrated by the fact that they keep coming back to play.
And today we have with us none other than the actress Mariona Ribas. Welcome, Mariona.
Hey.
Yes. It's great to see you.
Yeah, great to be here again.
Well, Mariona Ribas is playing with us for the first time, although she did visit our show some time ago, and we are so thrilled to know that she has had a baby in the meantime. So, Mariona, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, how's it going, and do you have time still for other projects?
I try to. I managed to have time for other things, and my little hobbies like knitting or sewing, and professionally things like acting or getting something
And
related
more TV
with
series, maybe? And maybe more TV series?
Sergi?
We're getting there. We're getting.
Yes,
We've worked a couple
yeah,
of
my
times
last TV
together.
show was with him,
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah, you were
quite
actually
pregnant, and it was
absolutely.
a very, very interesting experience. And maybe we could.
I agree, and I am very excited for you to be here with us, and I'm
Yes.
not going to hide it.
Okay,
The
me
fact
too,
that I'm-
me too.
Yeah, yeah. So good energy to this side of the
Okay.
contestants, this area. Yeah. Well, I'm afraid maternity will not be enough to melt the cold hearts of your ruthless opponents, Mariona.
Yeah.
Patricia Scalona.
Ruthless?
No, I was talking about Matthew. I was
okay.
going to
Yeah, but
introduce
then you
Matthew.
said,
Patricia
yeah,
Scalona
right.
and the ruthless Matthew Murtha.
Hello!
As you can see. So
I have to say, I think there's a little conflict of interest.
Okay, go
here,
for it.
Because I do some acting as well. And,
yeah, I see the conflict. She's good. And
I was up for the role of a pregnant woman, and
you didn't succeed
I
in
lost
the
out to her.
audition. Get over it, man. Get over it. She was just best.
She's stealing food from my mouth.
She was the best.
Money
That's
from
it.
my
Not really, not really.
Next time.
Next time.
Next
But
time, next
the
time.
good news for Mariona is that today we are going to start off with a brand new round. So welcome, welcome to the challenge called What Are They Talking About?
We've asked some questions to people on the street. We'll see a very short video with part of their answers. With that in mind, you have to guess what they are talking about and write it down on your blackboards.
Okay.
It's just one concept, one or two words.
Okay.
So ready?
Ready. Yeah.
Okay, 1 point every right answer. Let the round begin with an easy one. Watch and listen.
Fire.
Apple,
Blood.
a phoenix from Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix.
Strawberry, the color of love.
The faces. That is just amazing. Watching your faces. So, remember, I'm going to give you a few seconds, so if you know the answer, you can just go for it. It's a concept. A concept, a word, maybe two words. Good
so
luck.
me.
It's
That's
just the
me.
beginning. Beginnings are never easy. A word, okay, so there you go. Okay, one word works.
Okay.
But if you want to say the
Why?
You guys ready?
Thank you.
Was
For the
it
team.
helpful?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Show the answers to. And we've got Patricia saying red, Mariona 2 words saying red color, and you saying money. And as I predicted, you are gonna keep losing, and they're gonna start winning.
That lady said the color of love, and that is
Money.
Wow.
Oh my God, that's so revealing.
So let's see, and the answer is, Sergi, red things.
Absolutely.
Red.
So
Okay, so congratulations, Patricia. Congratulations, also Mariona. Well done. Red things is the answer.
As we predicted, Marcella,
That's
they
right.
both are gonna start winning, and our friend is gonna keep losing.
so. And I understand how this works now. Now I'm gonna get it right.
You do?
Okay, we'll see about that. You've been saying that for a few months, weeks now, but the month. I wanted to be more generous to you. Okay, now for the second video. This time, we're not talking about what, but who.
Human-shaped but behaves like a monkey. Climbs trees.
Naked, almost naked, and sexy.
Then a girl came there. They both fell in love with each other.
I must say, with the mask, I can.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to help you out. So they were talking about the person, half naked.
A
person.
sexy naked monkey.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And he falls in love with a girl.
Who falls in love with a girl, and don't point it when you say sexy naked monkey. Don't point at me like that anymore.
And also, let's give them a tip, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
He's a character in a famous film.
Exactly. So a character,
In
a
the
sexy
jungle?
man, half naked.
Sexy, half naked.
You're
Half
getting
monkey.
there. Exactly.
Yeah, more or
Falls in
less.
love with the girl.
More or less.
Oh. There we go. There we go. So take your time, but time's up. 3, 2, 1. Show the answers.
That's it.
You're doing it on purpose.
So Patricia
Are
says
you?
Tarzan.
come on.
Mariona says Tarzan.
He fell in love with a lady.
And he's half monkey and,
And
he's
he's
half
sexy.
naked.
He's very sexy.
Here's a matter of opinion.
Could be, but it's not. Right?
Who's the winner then? And who's
Okay, so congratulations again to Mariona and Patricia. Of course, the answer is Tarzan. Okay, so by the way, are you fans of Tarzan films?
Not really, no.
Not really.
sexy naked men?
That's a different
That's
kind
a
of
different man.
movies.
That's a different story.
Are you a fan of monkeys? Naked monkeys, Matthew?
Is there any other kind of monkey?
Not really.
Well,
Okay.
there's Trump.
And we have one last definition.
Well, yeah, we're getting wild today. Sorry for that. Now for the third definition. Check it out.
Architecture, really high building. And it's the biggest structure that I ever seen.
A place where I want to be in a couple of years.
King Kong.
She knew.
I was ahead of my time.
Exactly. As it
Yeah,
happened.
but that's not the answer.
As it happened. So we're talking about a building now. Somebody mentioned it, I mean, a part of Matthew, King Kong. And here we go. So you guys write down your answers. Matthew, you don't have time to learn how to write. So just do the best you can.
That's cold, man.
He deserved it. He was there. So 3, 2, 1. Show the answers. Chrysler Building, Empire State Building, and Empire State Building.
All right, and the correct answer is Empire State
Building.
Exactly. Have you ever been there? And if you have, did you like it?
Well, it's a tourist trap, really.
Yeah, not
But
bad.
It's, no, it's impressive. The view
Nice
is really
view.
impressive.
Yeah, the views are
true.
beautiful, but the queue to
Yeah.
get in.
Did a large monkey carry you to the top?
I wish, man, I wish.
All right, guys. Now for the fourth video, it seems that we're talking about someone again.
She's a really nice singer and I like her very much.
She's from Catalonia.
Amazing dancer, sassy, flawless, talented.
A lot of class. With long nails that I find very difficult to take out your menstrual cup.
What? What did you say?
You heard
What do
her.
you think?
You heard her.
Yeah, you heard right.
You heard it right. Exactly.
Okay.
She was talking about this person's nails.
Yes, among
Yes.
other things.
And other
Another-
things.
another
Yeah, and other
mind.
things. Agreed. So,
so
ready. Today is a wild day, I can tell.
Yeah.
So 3,
I think
2.
everybody knows the answer this time.
Let's see. So show them.
What?
My good friend Lydia. Catalan singer, has a menstrual cup.
And long nails also.
And very long nails, yeah. Love
I
it.
quit.
Wait, who did you say?
Okay, but I'm afraid, Matthew, we are talking about Rosalia. So again, Patricia and Mariona are right. Congratulations, girls. Well, what
And
can
I'm
we
not
do?
afraid to say that he
What?
lost.
What are we going to do today with Matthew?
I think it's the rules. You said somebody that you know. I have no idea who that
Yeah,
lady is.
that's-
I know somebody named Lydia
Really?
who definitely has a menstruation cup.
Okay. And now let's watch the next video, the fifth and last question. Here we go.
One of the biggest arts cameras, many people.
One of the nicest places to go in a Sunday afternoon.
All the things that exist or never exist in your imagination.
Wow, that was philosophical.
That's it. All the things that exist or doesn't exist in your imagination. That's a nice way to describe what. What is these people? Hold it. These people describing. You guys ready? Yeah, the three of you?
Okay.
Let's not scare Mariona. Cinema, Mariona.
He's actually right.
Okay, of course, the answer is cinema. Again, the girls are right. Mariona and Patricia, very well done. Films or cinema? That was the answer. I'm afraid, Matthew.
So he started writing down when they said nice thing to do a
So
Sunday
Matthew,
afternoon.
now we know what you're doing on a Sunday afternoon.
Yes,
good to
or
know.
on
All
a game
right.
show. Let's see who's ahead in today's show, because it's going to be a very unexpected score, right? All right, so let's move forward, but before, let's check the score. Who's ahead? Patricia is unexpectedly ahead with 5 points, and Matthew is wishing to be the next one, but he's not. It's Mariona with 4 points, just a bit behind. And there is Matthew with 1 point, and if you keep playing like this, you maybe are gonna end up the show owing us points, you know, like it, as usually happens.
I'm good for my promise.
All right, let's raise the stakes, right? And reach cruising speed for our second round.
Well, not so fast. Before that, a short language tip. So in how many different ways can you ask for things in English? Well, Ma Broderick is going to teach us a few of them.
Hi, so if you want to ask for something in English, then of course you're going to use the verb ask. Now there are other verbs that we can use to replace ask, and I'm just going to give you 4 of them, all right? The first one is to request. To request is a formal way of asking for something and is especially used when we talk about information. I requested the opening times of the museum, for example. Then we have claim. Now, to claim is to ask for something that you have earned or that you believe that is yours, okay? So you might have an insurance claim if you've had an accident, a car accident, for example. Or indeed at the airport, you might claim back your baggage in case they've lost it, which happens sometimes nowadays. And then we have demand. Now, be careful with demand, because you might think, in Catalan we say demanar, but it's not the same, okay? You have workers, for example, who are on strike, okay? They're not going to ask for something, they're going to demand it, all right? And the final one we have is beg. To beg is to ask for something humbly. Now, my son has been begging me for this computer game for the last 2 months, and I've pretty much ignored him. Funnily enough, he doesn't beg to do his homework.
So time for our second round. 2 points for every right answer. And I'm talking about everyone's favorite speech challenge. So Mariona, you have a bell.
Yeah.
For when you want to answer, okay? And our staff contestants prefer to stick to their special instruments. Don't you guys? Don't answer.
No, really, no, but I have been given no options. So.
That's correct.
Well, today it is very simple, which doesn't mean it's also easy. So we are going to give you some acronyms, and you simply have to tell us exactly what the initials stand for.
Wow.
Okay?
Whoa.
So let's start. PS at the end of a letter.
Patricia? Here?
Postscript.
Exactly, well done.
That's correct. I love it, non-commitment.
No,
Okay, here I go.
Okay.
UN. Mariona.
United Nations.
That's correct. Point to Mariona.
IT.
Patricia.
Yes, Patricia.
Artificial intelligence. No.
Matthew.
Matthew?
This did happen.
IT, extraterrestrial.
What?
The movie.
IT.
Not ET, IT.
That stands for?
For? Matthew?
Test.
That is not correct.
Information technology.
Yes,
That
finally,
is correct. Point to Matthew.
Okay.
Okay, ready? Here I go. HBO. Matthew.
Yes, please.
Patricia.
Home broadcast.
No.
Home, yes.
Not correct.
Box office.
Ring the bell. Ring the bell.
Yes,
Ring
she
the bell.
said it. No, she said it. Home
She said
box
it.
office.
Did she? She said it.
Home box office.
Home box office. Point to Patricia.
Okay. CSI.
Crime scene investigation.
Well done.
Well done.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's not easy at all.
Ready? CIA. Matthew.
Central Intelligence Agency.
That is correct.
NASA?
Oh, that's a tough one, right? NASA. NASA, like NASA.
You know that.
I know that. I definitely do. Matthew,
You want to try?
you're a scientist.
Yeah. It's
So?
it's the National Aeronautics and Space Administration.
That is
Well
correct.
done. Excellent.
Absolutely. So here we go, okay? SAAP. Mariona.
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible. Well done. Point to Mariona.
That's the one I know.
NATO. And ATO. NATO.
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 And ATO.
ATO.
It's Matthew?
Never attack the oil.
Nice
No,
try.
but it works as a clue.
Nice try, but no.
No.
Okay.
NATO. The organization, Matthew?
North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
North
Excellent.
Atlantic Treaty
Oh my
Organization. That is correct.
Impressive, Matthew.
Okay. Here we go. POTUS. Patricia.
President of the United States of America.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
POTUS.
And this one is very easy. COVID.
And there is not. I can't remember
What is that?
COVID.
You're a
that's
scientist,
supposed to
man.
work.
You need to
Yeah,
know
no,
this
it's
one.
coronavirus disease
Exactly.
2019.
It is coronavirus disease.
Coronavirus disease.
That is
indeed.
correct.
That's what that face was. I was like, I actually know this.
I love the way
What's
you,
happening?
I mean, okay, I have to go. This is the speed
Okay,
challenge.
speed
So here we
challenge,
go.
speed challenge.
Okay, this is gonna be a tough one. Last but not least.
I love you.
Yes.
Oh, I know. Point to you. No, that's a joke. Okay, here we go. Laser. That's a tough one. Matthew.
You go.
Light assorted.
Nope.
No, light array.
Nope. Mariona, you wanna try?
Light.
Patricia? Yeah, you were getting there. No? 3, 2, 1. Time's up! Light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation.
Not
Whatever.
easy. Not easy.
Whatever.
Easy at all.
Not easy at all. Well done.
Okay, well done, guys. Excellent.
Excellent.
Good job.
So
Okay.
now it's time to summarize
check
it.
the score,
Exactly,
right?
and check the score. And no, but are you guys having a good time?
Yes.
Matthew is very happy.
Matthew's very happy for the first time ever. I've
This
seen him
is
this
my
like this.
day.
This is exactly questions for scientists. Okay, this is tricky because it's tied. This is a historical moment, guys, so just pay attention because Matthew is ahead with 13 points.
Wow.
Patricia is a bit behind with 11 points, and Mariona is a bit behind with 8 points, but a lot of things can happen. A lot of things still can happen.
I am
A lot
focused
of
like
things
light.
will happen.
Will happen, exactly. Things can change in the third round, which will be another speed challenge. But now, 3 points for each right answer. So hold on to your seats at home, because this is the true or false speed challenge about the Mandela effect.
Okay, you heard right. The Mandela effect, as you know, the so-called Mandela effect is a phenomenon of a false memory shared by many people, even if it is easy to prove wrong. An example of this are film dialogues that never existed.
Correct, absolutely. Yeah, we're going to read out famous movie quotes. Some of them are real, but some of them were never said like that in the films. So you have to guess if they're true or not using the signs in front of you.
Okay.
Let's start.
So the first one goes like that. Tarzan said, "Me Tarzan, you Jane." True or false?
Show them now. Come on. True, and true. And the answer is false.
There we go.
False. Today is a Tarzan day. It's Jane, Tarzan. Jane, Tarzan. Jane, Tarzan.
We get the gist.
Or
It's
maybe
okay. Good.
Jane Tarzan, the other way around.
Or maybe Jane Tarzan. But it goes like that.
Right.
Okay, next one. Ricky Blaine said, "Play it again, Sam."
Play again?
Play it again, like...
Play it again.
Yeah, play it again, Sam. True or false? 3, 2, 1. True, false, and true. Which means...
It's false. Well done, Mariona.
Mariona got the point.
So, no character in Casablanca says that. Actually, Il Saland says, play it once, Sam, for old times' sake.
Incredible.
So similar, but not right.
I thought it was a
It's
quote
not
from
the right
Lord of
thing.
the Rings.
It could
Play
be.
it again, Sam.
Okay,
Easily
right,
could
next. In E.T., in the famous E.T. film, E.T. says, E.T. phone home. True or false?
3, 2, 1, true, false, and false. And the answer is false!
Okay.
Mariona and Matthew got the points. Actually, it is, and the order is E.T. home phone. All together, all combined. Yeah, the screenwriter was tricky today, yeah?
Yep.
Turns out he was trying to get a line with orange.
Okay, next. The best known sentence of The Graduate is, Mrs. Robinson, are you trying to seduce me? But is it a true quote? True, true, and true.
And I'm sorry to say that it's false. Well,
it's false.
It's false. Who said false?
It's not the best known line.
Nobody.
Nobody said false. Well, but it's false. Dustin Hoffman actually says, Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me, aren't you?
Oh.
Oh my
God.
Oh my God.
We said that we were going to raise the stakes a little bit.
I'm gonna take the script writer and flail him
You
for
are
this.
Trump. You are not winning. You are just complaining about everything.
Shut up.
Okay, the next one goes like that. Rhett Butler in Gone with the Wind says, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. But is the sentence exactly like this?
Show the answers true, false, and false. And that is absolutely true, Patricia. Well done, she got the point. Next one, Forrest Gump said, you're getting there, you're getting there. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. But is this true or false? False? Show the answers now. False, true, and true. Marcella?
And it's false.
His mother said it.
He said, my mama always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
People tell me all the time that I remind them of Forrest Gump.
Yeah, I agree with them, yeah. I'm in line with them. Yeah.
I don't know why.
Exactly.
Okay,
Run and then...
ready
You
for
should
the
do a
next
theme
one.
and run away from here.
It's because I talk real fast.
Right. Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver says, you talking to me?
Are you talking to me? Okay, so
You talking to
true,
me?
false, and true. And it is true! Patricia and Matthew got the point. What the hell is going on today, Matthew? Okay, and last but not least, in The Empire Strikes Back, Lord Vader says, listen up, Luke, I am your father.
Well,
With that voice. Is this true or false? True, true, and false.
And it's false.
It's false!
Well done, Matthew.
He says, who's your daddy?
He says, no, I am your father.
no, I am your father.
No, I am your father.
Yeah.
Okay.
So have you ever repeated any of those fake quotes?
All of them.
Even
All of them, right? All of them wrong.
Wrong, exactly.
The Casablanca is probably the most impressive for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like never
absolutely.
happened. Yeah. Like, play it again, Sam.
Okay, and I'm really, really curious to find out about the score at this
Me
point.
too, because today's score, I mean, like, I'm not capable of reading that out loud.
Yeah, it's a
Because
really,
it looks
really
like we have kind of a final score.
situation.
It's happening. It's an historical moment. So let's
Indeed.
create more excitement here. So Matthew is not just ahead, but also kind of winning with 25 F points.
Whoa, well done.
Patricia is behind with 17 points, and Mariona behind too with a very well-deserved position with 14 points, which is kind of close there. But
A great job.
He's beating them.
For being the first
I just want to
time.
thank my
Mariona
parents.
did very well.
Oh, Mariona did amazing for being the first time.
Okay, thank you all, Patricia, Matthew. See you next week. Mariona, great to see you, and I hope to have you back again soon.
Hopefully.
Yes,
Thank
please.
you.
Okay, and today's show has come to an end. We'll be back next Saturday at 4 p.m. on your local TV station or at La Xarxa website. We leave you with the guess word by Mario Serra, which you can find and solve, of course, on our media profiles. And this is the clue. Waiters love these parts of your fingers, and that's 4 letters. Well, thanks for watching and have a great week. Bye-bye.